Thank you, Carrie. Wasn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
I'm showing that you appreciate it. You know, Carrie and I are, developing this project, so he knows the inside the scoop. And, from a scientific point of view, I'm not knowledgeable as Carrie was, some of the doctors. And then I told you, share with you in the past that there are certain things come into our lab that is just like mind-boggling. Didn't I share with you, a few weeks ago? We got something really special. That's why I start with the, saying that I'm not a woman. I feel like I'm pregnant with something so great. It's about to just be delivered. So you gotta be at October 13th to find out what's going on. For educational purpose alone, it'll be the thing they will be sharing is so wonderful. Your friends and relatives, and to learn what's going on. That's in everybody's mind right now. Let me tell you about a personal story. I try to think generationally in terms of a family. That when my parents came to the United States, right after about 1989 was, so they were my mother, over the years, so someone not well off financially, she could not, feed herself along with me. And, I didn't know that how long she's going to be here. She was so not healthy. Now, they are, approaching 78, 9 in that direction. So that comes to me. Sooner or later, they will, come into a situation I have to, deal or meet with the situation. Your loved one, especially your parents, that who pour souls and hearts and blood and salt and sweat and everything for you. Someday they're gonna be not here. Going through last year, same thing myself, thinking about, in terms of me, was a, small tick bite, how that could just impact your personal life so tremendously. But also the impact that it has around your family. So when you think about yourself, you don't think about yourself. My parents as well, that when they think about it, they are thinking about their children and grandchildren. And when weddings coming for me, if I feel like it was yesterday I was about that age group, all of a sudden my daughter is just getting married next year. And it's like, wow, time going really fast. And so we cannot stop the time that passing. So that was in my mind a lot. I thought about it a lot, and lo and behold, something in our lab that I, run across. Carrie, what do you think? He's an expert. I mean, he's the living example. This is all packed of muscle. I'm not going to touch him, but incredible. He's the one good example of living a life, a healthy body, just maintaining and developing. And so when we think about it, we don't think about ourselves separated, isolated from the colony or community or family that we belong to. It has a significant impact the people around us. So when I was in that situation last year, when my parents are wonderfully so far has been really healthy. They've been so diligent taking enterprise and everything else, and then I'm fortunate to have them even up to these days, so as healthy they have been. And then I think about myself too, and then you should think about yourself too. What impact not living fully in terms of a health, your mental capacity, physical capacity, all your being the way that you're supposed to be, one of those components is not there, what impact will have, not only on yourself and your next generation, or even third generation, your grandchildren. It has a significant impact that we have a responsibility to truly look and then examine what we do on a day-to-day basis. So we as a company, that if there's anything that we could do, we want to embark in that direction. And then these things came up on, and then I think it's a godsend that we have a privilege and opportunity to share with you on the October 13th on a fuller scale. At least it'll be a tremendous eye-opening education. All the people that you may bring and expose to, in their journey with life, the many things that he addressed will be addressed. It'll be such a wonderful educational that we owe to ourselves to talk to people and expose them something that fabulous is going to be happening October 13th. Are you excited? Yeah. Just a little bit? Yeah. Just a little bit? You know, I share with you, we got about 5,000 weeks that we live in our life. I shared with you a couple months ago or so. You know, in my case, let's assume that I live 100 years old. Half of those weeks are gone already.
You got more than that.
Well, you'll be like 150. And, you know, life is a wonderful thing. But there are things that we need to respond to life in such a way that it'll truly just help us, our children, habit forming, and the things that we do. Not only us being healthy will impact, but the habit that you show and share with your children, grandchildren, will have a far more generational impact. Would you agree? Yeah. So I invite you boldly, October 13th, and also August 4th, coming week, Dr. Arlene Taylor. You know, let me share with you something interesting. When Carrie shared beautifully, aging does not mean that necessarily somehow, somewhere we extend our life. That's one part of it. But when it comes to aging, and then as I'm studying a little bit more in that direction, it just involves every our being and health-wise. You know, cancer, that has to do with the aging. If it's somehow that creeps into our life, that affects our longevity as well. Blood pressure he talked about. Insulin issue, another thing. Brain cells, another thing. Immunity, immune system that plays a role. Our liver function well or not function well will impact how you live. And then cellular energy. And so one of the things that Carrie tried to share with you is that if there's some way that we can address some of the main pathway to address those things that impact in terms of us living, healthily for a long time. By the way, that's what we call Vision 100. To live mentally, physically, spiritually. In fact, as I'm studying this particular region that we are getting this from, 103 years old, many of them walking around, going up and down the street, up on the mountain, doing the things that they are doing. Wouldn't that be wonderful? I was sharing with him that, old times, he's talking about, he'll be a good old-time man out there. He'll catch everything out there. Look at our modern culture. It is extremely easy to get to food without any efforts at all. We simply open the door, there are plenty of them. But how our modern convenience brought us not to move around at all. that we're trying to find a parking lot as close as to office or railways, wherever we go. We just resist moving around, moving our body. So there's an imbalance, how much we consume, how little that we move around, there's an imbalance. But in spite of that, we will share something that powerful October 13th that'll address some of that, that'll be somewhat fitting, even though we don't discourage to exercise. We exercise and do everything you do, address some of the things in a wonderful way, that pathway that helps you to address some of the things and disease that we mentioned in such a way that'll help you and then your generation, your children and grandchildren. Let me, anything that you want to add to it?
Can I just say one thing
Yes.
I forgot to say? This is not about that. Remember when I was telling you about the nitrates and the nitric oxide being produced by bacteria in your mouth? If you use germicidal mouthwashes, the strong ones with the antibacterial stuff, you kill those bacteria in the mouth. And so your body can't make nitric oxide from that pathway.
What about toothpaste? Does it do it?
Well, again, if it doesn't have the strong germicidal, those kind of like, and all that antibacterial soaps, those are all nonsense. They're causing more problems.
What about baking soda?
Pardon?
Baking soda.
I think it's okay. I truly, one of the experts in the world on nitric oxide just got back from the big conference in England. I've got to check with him, but they found that some of the people just can't do that. I think if you have a tendency towards lots of tooth decay, that you don't have the right bacteria in your mouth. You know, some people are just born with that, and I don't care. They can eat sugar all their life and they never get a tooth problem. They've got the good bacteria. Some of us didn't have that, and I think that we're the ones that probably can't convert food as well as we would like to nitric oxide. But using those kind of mouthwashes will absolutely guarantee that you'll destroy anything that's positive there.
Peroxide.
Pardon?
Peroxide?
I think it's okay. You'll have to come to the next meeting. I'm interviewing him again in 2 weeks. So.
Carrie, what about oil pulling with coconut oil?
Well, I think that should be okay. The lauric acid should be all right. Again, I think the natural stuff is okay. I think it's those strong chemicals that they put in, the supersized ones, you know, that probably could contribute to the problem.
Okay.
There may even be beneficial bacteria that you can take that for the mouth. I think it's mutans, something mutans is the name of the bacteria that might be able to repopulate the good mouth flora. I just had to mention that.
Okay, thank you. So in terms of October 13th, so it'll be a lot of education and then science behind it. And so really, truly, that Vision 100 is that not only that you live up to 100 healthily, but also for you to be able to impact 100 people at October 13th, your friends and relatives, at least invite, that's your goal. I'm not demanding that you invite 100 people, but I know that at least you know on an average 250 people. And you bring people, be informed, educated, so that your family and friends and wonderful people around you, educated, well-informed lifestyle can make a huge difference. That'll be the top. I mean, we look at this healthcare coming, everything is coming. We gotta do what we gotta do as a consumer. No medical system can fix aging boomers with their thing. So that is the importance of October 13th. And then also cancer issue, August 4th, that'll be addressed by Dr. Eileen Taylor, Doubletree, and then check with the Christian all the brochures. So now we are moving into the